All right, let's go back to our leading story now, where lobby group Afriforum says it will opt to privately prosecute should the NPA fail to prosecute Zimbabwe's former First Lady Grace Mugabe. We have tried this afternoon contacting the NPA, but we were unsuccessful. But for more on this, we're very pleased to be joined from our Pretoria studios by Afriforum Attorney Mr. Willie Spies. Mr. Spies, a very good afternoon to you. Your reaction to the ruling. We know you've always held that view that Mugabe should have been prosecuted. Tell us why you'll seek to privately prosecute this matter should the NPA refuse, sir.
Well, obviously we are very delighted about the outcome of today's court judgment. That's what we asked for, that's what we got. That the intention is to seek justice. If the National Prosecuting Authority carries on with prosecution, and if they apply for the extradition of Ms. Mugabe, then so be it, then it's a good thing, and then we're satisfied. If that does not happen, then obviously the next step for us, as the representatives also of the victim of the assault, Ms. Gabriella Engels, is to approach the court then and to start off with a process of private prosecution. Criminal Procedures Act possible, we've done that before, and services of Advocate Gerry Nel in Afriforum's private prosecution unit in order to make sure that it's been done in the best possible way.
Mr. Spies, maybe just for the benefit of our viewers, so how does a private versus public prosecution actually work?
Well, there are specific sections within the Criminal Procedure Act that the details. Obviously, the first National Prosecuting Authority will work. Both prosecuting authorities do their work. A matter of mallet, to investigate any crime that happens, then to be handed over to the prosecuting authorities, and for the prosecuting authorities then to make a call on whether not prosecute the accused. In normal circumstances where there's a prima facie case, the NPA actually doesn't really have a choice but to make the decision and to carry on. But we have seen in the past that political interference very often plays a role. And that is actually where the question of possible private prosecution comes in. If the National Prosecuting Authority decides not to prosecute, apply for what's been referred to as a nolle prosequi certificate. That's a certificate in terms of which the NPA certifies that they are not interested in pursuing the prosecution. And once that certificate is issued, then the victim has got 90 days to institute a private prosecution. So we will be asking the NPA immediately to make a call and to make a decision. And if they decide not to prosecute, then to issue that certificate. And then obviously the process will start to act on behalf of Ms. Engels. If a private prosecution is instituted, it's exactly the same as when the National Prosecuting Authority does the prosecution. The matter goes to court, summonses or subpoenas are being issued, witnesses are called, and then if the matter has been proven beyond reasonable doubt, then there's a verdict of guilty or not guilty. And that's more or less the process that we will follow.
All right. And Mr. Spies, should you then go ahead, of course, with the private prosecution, do you think you're going to get the relevant compliance from the Mugabes at this stage?
You say are you asking whether we're going to get the compliance or working together from them?
Yes. Would you get any? Yes, absolutely, sir. Do you think you're going to get any compliance from them?
Well, they do not really have a choice. Mr. Mugabe is now a normal citizen of Zimbabwe. Ms. Mugabe is also just an ordinary citizen of Zimbabwe. Certain extradition agreements between Zimbabwe and South Africa. Those agreements have been used in the past to extradite people accused of crimes in the various countries, in the different countries, and those agreements need to be used. And if needs be, there needs to be an extradition, and it's not really a question of the Mugabes working together or not. It's going to be a question of two governments getting together and implementing the extradition agreements that already exist between them.
All right, and speaking of government, Mr. Spies, what do you think about the excuse that the Constitution here was misinterpreted in this case? We also saw in the al-Bashir scenario, these have a direct effect on how we are viewed as a sovereign country. And what do you then think the consequences should be of making such mistakes, especially at such high level as government? It's very embarrassing, sir.
Happen, unfortunately. I think the important thing for us is on seeking justice, to approach the courts, to make sure that ask the courts to have a say about mishaps like this. So for government to learn from it. We are in a constitutional democracy. We are a young democracy. We've got a constitution that's only 20 years old. And with that being said, it very often happens that a person in power makes the wrong decision. The important thing is that we should not repeat our mistakes. We should learn from our mistakes, and we should make sure that we are working towards the kind of democracy and constitutional state that was envisaged by the Constitution.
Absolutely.
But that's a long way, and that's why there are civil society organizations who needs to take government to account, who needs to take on issues like these, and needs to make sure that justice is sought.
Mr. Spies, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. That is Mr. Willie Spies, who is an attorney with Afriforum, joining us in our Pretoria studios with an update on the Ingalls versus Mugabe case.